What's up, everybody? This is Toru. Welcome back to Producer Head. Today's installment of Producer Head Bars is really about motivation, and more specifically, micro motivation, the day-to-day piece that is variable and fluctuates. Some days we feel like it, some days we don't. There's not really a great explanation for why. The more important place to focus your energy is on how to manage that, because we can be sure that it will not be something that is consistent day to day. In my opinion, just trying to push yourself harder is not a strategy that is going to work in the long term. It may push you over the next deadline that you have, but it will not sustain you. This is really something that's been foundational to me in my own process. And to that end, I have written down concrete steps in how you can think about applying this in your own process. That can be found for free over at producerhead.substack.com. Don't forget to share this with a producer who belongs here. And without further ado, here is the marathon method. So today's idea comes from a potentially unexpected source. There is a quote from a book called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. Here's the quote. Let's just get right into it. I stop every day right at the point where I feel I can write more. Do that, and the next day's work goes surprisingly smoothly. I remember the first time I read this, it smacked me across the face because it just made me think about every studio session I had up to that point where the chord progression falls out of you, the idea starts to flow, and you experience that positive domino effect. And you're completely immersed in the moment. I'm in a flow state and it's all happening. And I'm so excited. I'm just riding this wave that feels like it could go forever. I feel like I could be in the studio forever. And what I used to do was basically ride that feeling until I was exhausted, both physically, emotionally, ear fatigue, etc. And now the idea or the beat that I've been working on hasn't changed. What's changed is me, right? Is the way that I'm perceiving this thing because of the energy that I've expended to do it. And in a sense, I would argue that when I was in those sessions trying to push past those moments to a point of exhaustion, that I'm less serving the song and more so my ego. I want to see this thing finish. I want to see where it goes. The thing is, when you do that, at least two things happen that really directly impact your creativity and your process in negative ways, right? The first is, by being exhausted, it's that much harder to do the next thing. And typically I have something else that I want to do that day. And now as I go to do that next thing, I'm entering it exhausted, fatigued, burned out, not to mention feeling down about my creativity and what I was just working on. The second thing is, as I leave the studio, I'm leaving that session with that negative impression, with that bad experience. And so even if it's subconscious, I've now made it that much harder to come back tomorrow, because the last thing that I remember is everything not going well. I summarize kind of that exhaustion and that negative feeling, that lasting impression that you have, as studio trauma. And the thing about the studio trauma is that in this particular case, it's entirely self-inflicted. It's because I failed to make the decision to walk away at that high point. This is a deceivingly simple idea to implement. You have to have both the self-awareness to understand when this is happening, and you also have to have the discipline to remove yourself from what is a very fun moment and situation in service of the project, the bigger picture of your practice as a whole, which is the foundation of you being able to create. If you are able to do this, I would say that there are at least two things that you will benefit from. The first is, when you close it up, you're walking out of the studio session because you chose to, not because you're being thrown out of the studio. You're choosing to walk out on good terms, on a high. And because of that, you get to carry that momentum in the next thing. So whether it's answering emails, you have a meeting, you have another project to work on, another mix, you're going to make another beat, whatever it happens to be, you get to carry all of that positivity and momentum into that next space. Secondly, instead of that last memory of your studio session being something really negative, you're actually more likely to have something more like curiosity. I wonder what's going to happen when I come back tomorrow. And you're not going to have to be convinced to come back. You have something pulling you into the studio tomorrow And that is priceless. So that's the marathon method. Go ahead and try it out. Let me know what you think. The next time you're riding that creative wave and you feel like you could work forever, remind yourself that it is a marathon, and go ahead and give yourself that little reward of being able to walk away at a high point. And if you have any questions, same thing. Let me know in the comments or the DMs, and I'm happy to try to help you get this going. Again, I remind you that think of it as an instrument, tune it, play it exactly the way that it fits you, for your style, for your goals. At producerhead.substack.com, I've included a list along with this entire write-up that gives you suggestions on how you could implement this particular strategy and idea. Again, it is free to subscribe to the Producer Head Substack at producerhead.substack.com. I am now offering premium subscriptions. If you're enjoying the show as well as all of these ideas, please consider taking out a premium subscription. It is $6 a month. It is a fraction of what we pay for plugins, and it goes a long way in helping this community grow, making other things available to us, as well as bringing in new guests. Really appreciate the support. That's it for today. Producer Head Bars. This has been Toru, and in a way, so are you. Peace.